Mr. Boyle. You picked up in the buffet today the syllabus, so you've got kind of a snapshot all the way to Christmas. So, eek, all the way to the calendar turning to 2019, the year of your graduation. Eek, let's go. It's not actually that far away. It's 15 classes until it's the new calendar year. It's kind of nuts when you think of it in terms of that. Do you think it's a lot?
It doesn't sound like a lot, but I feel like it is.
15 hours.
Yeah.
Ish. 20-ish. Ish. Okay, so you're sitting in different places, but I'm going to explain to you how this is going to go, and you may not want to stay where you end up. You know, you tried to preserve where you normally sit, as most would do. But because it was first block, I was able to set us up a little bit, so you don't have to do any furniture moving. All right? Are you good, Sean, with the camera? Cool. All right, so take a look at the plan for today, right? We're going to do a flexible playlist, as we've done in the past. You seem to like that. So you've got 4 different stations that you will visit today during the period. You've got a collaborative activity station, which is on the right-hand side of the room, where you're going to choose between a couple different activities. You'll take a Socrative assessment up front at the table. You've done that before. You've got an informative article to read. That's a satirical article from The Onion. And independently just respond to a few questions on that over here at this station. So when you're over here, you're kind of on your own. And then in the back, in the round table, or the rectangular table setup, that's where I'll be chatting with you about the ending of the play, anybody has points you have, anything like that. All right, so you're going to choose the sequence that you go through these different stations in. So it's going to be up to you to decide how great you're feeling this morning about your confidence level, understanding of the text. If you feel really good, you might want to start with the Socrative and take that 10 question. This time it's multiple choice, true, false, so you'll get some feedback immediately on that. You may feel like you want to talk to a colleague first, a peer or a couple peers, and work collaboratively on the options that you have over there. You may feel like you just need some quiet time to get going, so you want to look at this article and think about how it might be connected to what Oscar Wilde may be doing with his satire, or maybe you want to start with a little chat in the back with me about the text. So it's going to be up to you to decide which one, all right, which way you go. At each station, you've got detailed directions. So look for that at the station. And the only thing I really want to talk a little bit more about, so at this one over here, everyone is going to get their own, excuse me, Mason, whoops. Everyone's going to get their own packet, so just take one. The stacks at each, just take one. This is yours. You can read the article and annotate, and then there are a few questions for you to answer. You'll submit that to me at the end of the period. You'll submit the Socrative digitally, obviously. We'll have the convo. And then over here, your group partnership will submit a piece of work as well, okay? Last stop in terms of directions, at this side, you have 2 different options that you can choose from in terms of collaborative work. Both of them are gonna ask you to think about big picture Oscar Wilde, okay? So your 2 options are, 1, to get in the head of Oscar Wilde. So you've seen this head before, right? Remember when we segmented it for the Wife of Bath and we kind of put the thoughts, her obsessions, her thoughts in there, and then we tagged them to quotes? You're going to do the same thing, only it's not for a character. It's for Oscar Wilde. It's for the author. So you're making a giant leap, and that's why it's good to have some friends to bounce some ideas off of there. What are things that he's concerned about or worried about or thinking about? What's your impression? Just if you only know him from that text, Importance of Being Earnest, what are the things that you put in his mind? And then if you can connect it, you'll need your books at that station, connect it to a line from the play, that would be awesome. All right, so that's option 1. The other option, and this is posted on Classroom, so if you want to work collaboratively digitally, this might be a better option for you, where you're going to do a little bit of research, poke around about Oscar Wilde's life. I know we had started watching that bio video, we never really finished, but find a few details about him and then make a parallel to the text. You could do it that way too, if you would prefer. All right, so you would complete this organizer if you choose to do that option. If not, you would complete this character head analysis, and it's one per group. So if you three end up working together on this, I'll get one artifact from the entire business. All right, and the details on the directions are right over here. All right, so what are your thoughts, questions at this point? Feel like you can be in it to win it, or I know it's early, it's really early. No questions? You feel pretty good? So remember, you're progressing. There's going to be no bell or anything like that. When you're finished with something or you feel ready to move on, you can move on to the next thing. And it's going to be up to you to calibrate your sequence, right? So that's your mission today. All right, we will reconvene at the end. We'll press pause if we're not quite finished with everything. We will reconvene to talk about next Monday, which is the unit test on Oscar Wilde and Chaucer. And since we haven't done a unit test together, I want to give you some insight into the format and what you can expect and how you might best prepare for that type of assessment. That'll be Monday, right? And then I won't see you again until the following Thursday. Because we have
So what's the connection though between this Prism and Lady Bracknell?
Okay, so Lady Bracknell knows who Prism is, right? And how are they connected? Do you guys know? Do you know? She only knows her as the governess for her
Okay.
sister, you know? So,
I thought it was more than that.
no, it's just that she was the governess. So here's Miss Prism hired years ago when Jack's a little baby to be the governess for her sister, right? So be like the nanny, right? And she knows her because, you know, she's the nanny for my sister's kid, right? And then the baby goes missing. They had never really spoken about it, right? And how did the baby go missing? How did Miss Prism actually lose the baby? Did you remember?
Didn't she like mistaken the book for the
Yeah.
baby, put the baby in the handbag and then put the book in the stroller?
Yeah. So she put the baby in the handbag, and then she put the 3-volume novel that she was typing in the the stroller. So she's just switched them, and then left the baby off in the handbag. Yeah.
Can I do quotes from him, or do I have to do them from the book? Like, can they be like separate?
Yeah. You can do either or. I
Okay.
think.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's only how she knows. She remembers her, but it's like Miss Prism went missing after that. You have this feeling, right? 'Cause she's like, Prism, where's that baby? You know, like they never found out. They don't know what happened. They just don't speak of it. So it's just a very convenient way of like, wrapping this up. So if you overthink it too much, you're gonna punch a big hole in it.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense now.
You punched a big hole in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miss Prism was just the governess,
Okay.
similar to she's the governess for Cecily now. Like that's her profession. She was supposed to look after the baby. She lost the baby, right? And then isn't it classic when she's like, oh yes, this is my handbag. I'm so glad to have it restored to me after all these years. Like nothing about like the baby or like guilt or anything like that. It's like, oh thank God, I've been missing this suitcase. I really like this bag. This bag is epic. I want to keep it, right? So it's pretty funny. What other things were you wondering about or thinking about?
I didn't get Jack's quote at the end. Like when he says it was a terrible thing to like find out he was being earnest in his letter. Like,
Yeah, isn't it the exact opposite of what the idea is supposed to be?
It is.
5
So,
steps.
what do you think's up with that? Like,
I have no idea.
I think I can explain.
yeah,
I think he's been living his whole life as like a double life, so part of his life has been a lie. So for that lie to actually have some truth to it is scary to him.
yeah. I mean, and it's just like, you know, he thought he was being so dangerous and he's being so on the edge, you know, he's invented this character and he's, you know, like, and then he finds out, like, I'm legit this whole time, like, it's a backwards, it's a reversal of what's expected, right? It's an incongruity.
No, I
So
don't know what that is.
there's that feeling of like, what? You're sad that you found out. And then, of course, there's the play on earnest, our vocab word, earnest, sincere, truthful, and the
Okay,
word,
romance.
the name earnest, right, spelled without the A. Let's talk about irony. Irony at the end. What are some things that are ironic? Because that's a big piece of the satire. If you can start to get the irony, which can be hard, then you can start to get the satire.
Yeah,
So
like
something
that
that's
his name
ironic.
has been Ernest the whole time.
Yeah, that's perfectly ironic. That the random name that he picked for himself happens to be his real name. Good. How do they confirm that, by the way?
They look up his father in the army list.
Yeah, and that's contrived too, like to just delay like the ending, right? Because if you ask me my brother's name or my, I would probably remember, but Lady Bracknell's like, gee, I don't remember the first name. And then they have to look it up in those military records. Remember, they look it up in the military records. And they're like, Ernest John, what? So he's actually got his middle name of Jack, John, is also his name too, so it's just that perfect thing. So the irony of picking a random name and it happens to be your name. Anything else ironic? About Prism. How ironic is it that she ends up working for the kid she lost, right? The person she lost as a baby, she ends up working for him without knowing it. That's ironic. So there's little bits of irony here. Jack saying he never wanted a brother, then he has a brother. Like there's just like irony after irony. So the ending just builds and builds and builds. So what do you think at the end of this? Because it's a silly play, right? It's a funny, silly, like, oh my God, right? Of course his name's Ernest. Like, what is Oscar Wilde doing with this? Like, what's the satire? What do you think? What comment is he making about marriage or society or class or women or like all these things that he's bringing up? Do you have any feeling about that now? Because we kind of chuckle, ha ha ha, oh grand, that was funny, right? But at the end of it, think about some of the serious things that he's really bringing to light in a very unserious way. What do you think he is saying about women? Can't be really wrong. You just have to think about it.
I think
He had that line about when the two girls were being really sarcastic about like men are infinitely better than us or something, and that sort of thing. So obviously he meant the opposite of that because he's being satirical.
Yeah. So looking at Jack and Algie as representative of the male
Yeah, and then Gwendolyn
species.
Okay, romance.
and Cecily.
Aside from like what options do they really show for women? You know, he seems to expose like the absurdity of them being so driven to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Cecily and Gwendolyn, like, oh yeah, they've solved that problem. So there's something about like options for women or like roles for women. You either be Miss Prism, the governess to someone else's kids, or you get married and you know you have your own kids. Like, but then there's Lady Bracknell, which is, I don't know what to do with her because she's powerful and bossy and but we don't like her. Like she's mean.
I think she's kind of made too to like highlight like problems with the marriage. Like she was always making like those really like abstract expectations for Jack.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanted to touch on
Maybe that's why she's so
that.
crafty.
She wanted him to have a parrot.
She's unfulfilled, right? She has that unequal marriage too. Like at the end, she's always saying Lord Bracknell is always upstairs, or he doesn't. So he's saying he's sick or something. He's just like they're not like happy. So there's something there that could be connected to marriage. But there is something with her being powerful, though. I still don't know what to do with that. But there is something definitely with women in this play, and men. The expectations for men too, as providers, as all of that kind of stuff is exposed. Algie sort of cuts against that, right?
Yeah.
Where he's just like not interested. I don't want to work. I don't want to, like, he just wants to party and have a good time and all of that kind of stuff. And in some ways he's presented as a feminine character, like just tinkering around on the piano and worrying about food and, you know what I mean? So there's something interesting with gender there, with marriage definitely. With class, you can't miss that one, right? The whole obsession. Like Lady Bracknell's like, no, you can't. Why would you get married to this? What is this thing holding Algernon's hand? And then Jack is like, mentions what?
Her money.
130,000 pounds.
Yeah.
She's like, oh dear, I didn't notice yes, you're very lovely. Oh, let me see. And she's literally like inspecting her like a animal you would buy at a fair or something, right? Like,
And
turn
then
to
there's
the
that whole
side.
quote about having like promising social qualities or something like that.
Yes. And it's all about the money. It's all, it's like, okay. And then the whole thing about like the inheritance, like how old does she have to be to inherit that money, or grandpa?
35.
35. And so she's 18 now, so like she's gonna double her lifespan in order to marry Jack. And Lady Bracknell was like, that's not a problem. What, you're impatient? You're so impatient. Why can't you wait? Which, you know, it's just Lady Bracknell being like, really.
So what we're doing is we're basically going into the mind of Oscar Wilde. So we're writing like quotes, satiric devices, values. So we could choose between two. We could do like a research paper, which is this, or we can go into the mind. So we choose the mind one just because it's a little more like creative. So right now I'm just looking for quotes to prove like the romance, irony, and more devices that he used.
So we're reading an Onion article, which is from a website where they make satire articles. So we have to determine what the tone is of the article and what the real message is that the author is trying to say. And it's about this privileged boy, and it's saying he got in a car crash, but it's making it out to seem like he got out of the situation unscathed.
I'll go for it. So right now we are researching the life of Oscar Wilde, and we are going through and finding different interesting points of his life and then relating it back to the play.
And then we just make an explanation, connecting the quote to the biography of his life to show really what he means by writing this novel.
Perfect.
I like that the quiz was part of the stations because I didn't feel rushed because it wasn't timed.
Yeah, I also like the timing of the stations because it really creates like a free environment, and you don't have to feel pressure to finish anything that you don't like. You feel like you wouldn't do a good job on if there wasn't enough time for it.
What was your favorite station?
This phone thing, it brings in like a creative element to character analysis, and it really helps us tie our thoughts together better.
Yeah, it helps me connect the characters back to the book and the text.
Great. Anything else you want to share?
No.
You guys are good. Thanks.